Welcome to Bricks and Banter, the podcast that brings you the latest insights and advice on all things real estate.
Dylan, welcome back. It's the Bricks and Banter podcast. This has been a crazy summer, I think, for both of us.
Yep. It's been eventful.
It's been crazy for me. I know. I see that you have a nice beverage in front of you there. You're going to get into that. That's one of these episodes, eh?
It feels like one of those. Like it's Wednesday today, right?
It is.
Feels like a
All
Friday.
day. Yeah. Feels like a Friday. Feels like I've been at work for, sounds good. What have you got there?
I have the Think Bigger Cream Ale.
Nice. And that's the all or nothing?
All or nothing. Let's go.
Right. So this is our day to just kind of unwind, share a little bit about what's going on.
Ooh, I like that. Again, I like that one.
Wow. You were skeptical at the beginning.
A little bit.
You?
Yeah. Well, you have the amber, which I
Right.
kind of think I want to see how that one goes down for you. I know you're not a huge beer guy like we talked about in this one, but
okay.
This is nice. Like this one's a cream ale, so I expected it to be a bit heavier, is why I was a bit kind of apprehensive, but it's actually quite light.
Well, it's funny because not to dive away from the all or nothing guys, but I tried one from another craft brewery up in Port Perry on the weekend. And again, I don't do this a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's Raven. I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
But it was an espresso based like stout, like heavy one.
Ooh,
and I thought,
this
isn't going to work. And actually it turned out it was really nice.
You liked it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Interesting.
So I'm going to get into this one here. There we go. So Amber Ale. You want to walk me through this one?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Yeah, that's amber, all right. Is
it heavy a little bit?
It's got a good taste to it. It's definitely amber, and I'm not sure what else I'm getting from that, but that's actually good.
Nice.
I don't think we failed on any of these from all or nothing.
No, and like that's the thing. Like I like beer. Like I'm not crazy about all the craft beer. Like some of them I just find it for my own taste too heavy or too bitter. Sometimes there's just a lot going on where.
Yeah, I think some of them you get into like the different, and I don't profess to know an awful lot about beer.
Oh, and same for me. I'm a pretty casual. Like I don't really even drink that much, but I mean, when I do drink, I like to drink beers usually, right? Like at a game or on a deck or a patio or something, right? Nice.
I think it's something you just know what you like.
Oh, for sure. And you kind of, well, I was going to say that actually. So when you mentioned that stout there, right? Like we've talked before, I like Guinness. Like I'm a huge, I just love it. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about it. I just really enjoy it. But when you go to a lot of restaurants, if you ask for Guinness and they don't have it, they're always, their first thing is always, oh, but we have a stout we're going to give you, right? And almost every time it's just horrible in my opinion.
Never works out, right?
Yeah, me and my buddy had it one time. Can't remember where we were, but we had one and it was just like that. They were like, oh, everybody who likes Guinness loves it. We both took one sip and we were like, oh, it tasted like there was like whiskey in the beer or something. Like it was like, I don't know.
I don't like it when you got too many flavors going on.
Yeah.
Right. It
takes over and you don't know what's going on. Like,
yeah. And it's funny because I'm going to go off the offside here. No, not offside. Why do I always stumble with those
yellow
words?
Card?
Yeah. I went through a Costco the other day and I got these mocktails. Okay. Don't ask me why I bought mocktails.
I really don't want to.
Okay. So I bought them. I'm thinking, you know what? Wife and I are going to sit down on the front porch and have some mocktails. Mm-hmm. And they have a gin and tonic rose. And I'm not going to call anybody out on this. And then there was a Moscow Mule and a sangria.
Okay.
And we both tried different ones. Oh my God. Awful.
Oh, horrible, eh?
Not even close to a Moscow Mule.
So let me ask you, like, were they meant to taste just like it had alcohol in it, or was it just to give you the flavor of the drink, but it was clearly alcohol free?
It was clearly alcohol free. That was the big push.
Because I feel like sometimes they can kind of try to make it taste, they'll put like a couple little things in.
Someone was trying way too hard on these ones and like missed.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't want to call anybody out on it because there's probably someone out there that really likes them.
That's to each his own, right?
But my son tried a sip of one of ours and he's like, you can still take those 4 back.
Yeah. Can I add vodka to this?
I think he did on one of them.
Yeah, that's why I was asking because, you never know what's already added to it, right?
Mm-hmm. So it's been an interesting summer. And keeping in fine form for the Bricks and Banter podcast, we said we weren't going to script anything. We didn't script anything today. Yeah. We did prep a little bit and just talking about it. And we were just talking about, where we're going with this one. I just thought we maybe let people know what's happening. Yeah. It's been fun. It's been good. in doing this, but I'm thinking just, sharing some of the stories that we've had. You've obviously had a busier summer. It feels like we've been on vacation and just away from things because nothing's been cohesive.
Yeah, like I feel like I haven't seen you in like months, but I mean, we've seen each other in passing a couple times, and phone calls. Like,
so it's we're still working with a lot of the things that we're doing, but it's amazing how a couple of projects can pull you in different directions in this business. And we're still wrapping up with our move. Still settling in.
You're kind of at that,
yeah. So I thought that, moving, I'll be all settled in within a couple of weeks. And again, having not done it,
I think you should know better than that.
Yes. Well, 17 years I haven't done it. I thought, okay,
True.
Maybe by the end of August I'll be settled in.
Yeah.
Right. Not even close.
Well, that's how it works, right? Especially because you're a realtor, that's the best side,
right?
Like you should know better. Like you should be able to figure it all out perfectly, right? Because you're the genius.
Yeah, I can't follow my own advice. Right? That's the best part.
That's the best part about it. Yeah, but honestly, like that's human nature, right? Like how many times are people like, "Oh, I wish I could take my own advice," but they're so happy to give it to someone else, right?
Well, and I think that's where we're good at that. Like we're great at dispensing the information out to people.
Yeah. Well, it's literally what we get paid to do, right?
Exactly.
Other than negotiating.
And, we have the luxury of having not to have to move every day.
Yeah.
But, being able to set people up. My client moved at the exact same time I did, like within days of each other, days of each other. And she's sharing these stories with me. And she's like, no, everything's set up. We had dinner at the house last night. I'm like, how are you doing this?
Yeah. You're like, I can't even find
I don't even have a countertop.
A garbage bag or something.
I don't have a countertop. I went for an appointment and I joked with my clients. And I was like, I'm going to be a few minutes late. It took me a while to find pants. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like tearing the house apart upstairs. I got shorts, I got socks, I got everything else. And no pants.
Classic.
I'm like,
well, you could have changed your style and became a shorts wearing realtor, but didn't seem like that.
I don't think anybody wants to see me showing houses in shorts. I don't know. Maybe it's just an old school thing.
You know what? It's not something I do or really agree with myself. But hey,
isn't that a weird thing about the industry?
But that's like the best thing about it, though, isn't it? Like everybody can do their own thing, and if you can operate at a very high level and sell a ton of homes in flip flops and shorts, like damn, like power to you, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I gotta get that out of my mindset
because like I wouldn't do it personally. I mean, I was just going to
ask you, would you ever show houses wearing flip flops and shorts?
No, and like even like I've helped a lot of friends and family, and
yeah,
like I can't even like what I'm wearing now, a golf shirt and pants is like the lowest I can go. Even with family, I'm kind of just like it's like I'm going golfing. Like who cares? It's pretty comfortable, right?
Well, and I think you also know who you're working with too. And again, that's coming back to would you ever show up in a suit and a tie with a nice pocket square and your shoes polished nicely and everything else to show houses to your cousins?
Depending on my day, yeah. Like if I had another meeting in the day that I felt required a suit, or it was just one of those days, because I don't wear suits every day. I'll wear them, maybe even only a few times a month, at most. Like depends on the season, the year. Like I always run hot, so in the summertime, I don't know how people can rock and roll in like a 3-piece suit. Like it's just
we have
terrifying.
Emilio in the office. He always wears a suit.
How does he do it? Like, you know what though? It's probably because he's South American, so he's used to the heat. Like he's just like it's normal. I don't know. Like
that's hot.
I used to say that too. I was like, man, it's because you're from Venezuela or something. Like I don't know.
But yeah, he always does it up really nice.
Yeah,
like,
but that's the thing. Good. Like going back to the point that we said, right? Like for me personally, no. Like I even with my friends and family, like to me the shorts and the flip flops is just. I would prefer not to be seen by other realtors, when you're in passing or whatever it is. It's just how I operate, right? And, if somebody else agrees to wearing shorts every day of the week and they're, hugely successful, then power to you, I guess, right?
Well, I've seen realtors on YouTube and stuff like that. They do the videos and they're like nice shirt, jeans, and a pair of running shoes.
Yeah, well,
every day.
And that's the thing is
multi-million-dollar properties.
Yeah, and like you can look, marketplace to marketplace, like, around the world. And I think that you would probably get a different, like, a little bit of a different like attire, on average for a lot of them, depending on where you are, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure certain parts of the world and certain countries, like it's just you wear whatever you want. There's no, there's nothing to it, right?
Manhattan, Beverly Hills, you're not showing up in flip-flops and shorts.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like I know people personally that I've seen at showings and they wear shorts and like, hey, like do your thing, right? But and that's the thing is everybody can like you can pick and choose how you want to operate and you do you. That's what I like to say. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So what's been going on? What's happening with you? What's working? What's not working?
Just juggling these days, man. Like lots going on. It's just, I feel like at times, sometimes I'm just busy being busy, like we all get sometimes, but other times I'm just swamped. Like there's lots of, I've had a lot of buyers on the go, but with the market kind of in the shift right now, like the crop of clients I'm dealing with, they're just, a lot of them are just they're kind of just missing out, or they're just stepping back. Like they're kind of like very, very close to getting what they want, or it's either just out of their affordability, or it's, they could afford it, but it needs work done type thing a lot of the time. Right. So I've got a few first time buyer type clients, one set of investors I'm working with that are very very frugal people. Like they're only going to spend what they want to spend because it's an investment, and they're very, tight on that.
Gotcha.
And then, I got a couple listings that, I've been kind of, really nice ones that are just kind of slow burn, like as it goes. Right. And a few people came and went, and it's just been, there's been a lot of phone calls I've been receiving recently, which, a lot of the time you think it's going to lead up to a buy and a sell, or, a listing, whatever. And things come on hold. And it's just, I think the uncertainty in the market is what's doing that to me lately, is just the interest rate increases, the fact that nobody really seems to know what's going on. Right. Like, are you feeling that? Like, you must be yourself as well, right?
Well, now that the move is done for the vast majority of the work and the effort, I'm starting to feel that. And I think the summertime has been interesting because, yes, I have felt like I'm a little bit on vacation, but I haven't done anything exciting.
Yeah, but you're busy as hell.
But the busyness is coming in to work again. And maybe that's just people prepping for back to school. Yep, right. We're in a time, a couple of weeks before, however many days that is before back to school. I'm probably thinking most people are looking at this and going, last couple of weeks before back to school, let's go to the cottage. Let's, unwind, do something, just not focusing on real estate at all.
Yeah. And I think traditionally, right, like the market usually, like I think a lot of people get slow in the summertime. Like a lot of people just, because people do, human beings, it doesn't matter what you do for a living, like the summer is the summertime, right? Like you want to enjoy it, whether you're going away or you're just simply like you're off work or whatever it is, right? It's not,
winters are long.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's not always a time that everyone moves. And I think that's why, a lot of the time people say, oh, spring and fall, but summer is never a bad market in my opinion, necessarily. It depends on obviously what's happening at the time. But so I was busier starting the year. Spring kind of was a bit up and down, and then I got busy again. And now I'm kind of like, a little bit of both, right? Like, but it is what it is, right? That's the business we're in.
It kind of moves in cycles.
Yeah.
I found the summer's been fun.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know if I would do it again.
Like moving, you mean, like that? Yeah. So tell me a bit about that. Like, I feel like we got some stuff to unpack there about the move. So you've been in what 2 weeks now? Is it? You've been officially moved in?
It was the end of July. So about 2 weeks. Okay, a little bit more than 2 weeks. I think Thursday. Actually, tomorrow will be 3 weeks.
Yeah. And
of being in.
Yeah.
And what a whirlwind that is.
Yeah, well, I actually want to hit you with a question here. So we talked before about timelines with renovations, right? Mm-hmm. How they happen, and that's going to come out because we still haven't even put that out. But how are you looking? Like, so from 2 weeks ago moving in.
Oh, I don't know. I think I look pretty good today.
Well, you're pretty sharp, but we'll leave it at that. I don't want to get too into that. But like, how's it going? Like, are you like way off track of what you expect to be moving in? Are you pretty close?
I think we're pretty close. Okay. It's to the point now where every day that we start doing something, it feels more and more like home. Where that first couple of days, it's just chaotic.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
I think I shared with you some of the stories I had about moving out and being disorganized, and then moving in and not having everything exactly the way I want it to be. And maybe that's just me being, overanalyzing everything and wanting perfection out of everything, and then not being able to dial it back when it doesn't happen.
It could be a little bit, yeah.
So it amps you up, and we chatted a little bit about my move, right? So a tad disorganized. And we won't get into the whole detail because there's not enough.
We'll need a few episodes to get through.
There's not enough of this to unpack all of that. But we were just extremely disorganized. And in that disorganization, I said that I wasn't nice to people that were around me that were helping. So,
which is hard to believe for you, actually. Like,
like I was just so frustrated. Like every time I opened doors, it just seemed like there was more stuff to pack. And I had a trailer that I borrowed that just to take up the last things. I had to go and rent a U-Haul truck. And I think the capper of it was I walked into the backyard expecting nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm already behind the 8 ball.
Okay, so wait, let me ask, like where are we on timeline here?
Okay, so this is moving day.
Okay, so closing day.
This is closing day. This is moving day. Okay. It closed the earliest I've ever had a house close.
And you obviously weren't ready.
Oh,
right?
Not even close to being ready. I had called my lawyer and I said, can you kind of drag your feet a little bit and maybe
slow it down?
Yeah, slow it down. He calls me back 45 minutes later to an hour and says, bad news. I'm like, what I can't handle any more bad news.
Don't tell me.
Yeah, he goes, we're closed. He goes, you got to get out. I'm like, I am nowhere near it. So anyway, so scrambling. So the last thing I'm doing is going through and making a last check.
Yeah.
I'm tossing things over the fence to my son and to my wife to throw in the truck.
Just beast mode.
Oh yeah. Just
get everything out.
Catch or stay out of the way. I'm throwing everything
Heads
out.
up.
And the last thing I do is I walk around the corner and I see this, can I say this? Ugly ass barbecue
that works.
Sitting on my back porch or back deck. And I'm like, oh my God, the buyers specifically said they didn't want this barbecue.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, what do I do with it? It's up on a platform. I got a couple stairs to go down. I disconnect the natural gas line. I pull it down the stairs. It bounces down the stairs onto the patio. So far, so good. Across the patio.
Oh, man.
And I've got the thing hooked on both hands across the backyard. And it's like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like across the backyard to the next patio.
Couldn't care less.
Oh, yeah. So I get to the fence, I get it out, and I'm just going through the fence, and I am so frustrated at this point.
Yeah.
I think I'm cursing under my breath, like nothing's going well. I finally get this thing to the driveway, and doesn't it hook on a river rock in the driveway?
Oh, no.
Twist this wrist, and I'm watching this thing in slow-mo. I'm like, don't go over. Yeah, don't go over it. This thing hits the ground, and the grease and the water that had built up just explodes all over the driveway.
Oh my God.
Right? So I have lost my mind. There wasn't even a choice of saying, okay, don't lose your mind.
What do I do here?
Don't lose your mind. Or, okay, this is going to be okay. Or snap and you lose your mind.
Yeah.
It was instant snap, lost my mind. This barbecue is sitting on its side, dripping rusty, greasy, watery stuff all over the driveway, which I have no time to clean up.
Oh my gosh.
In this moment of losing my mind, I start kicking the barbecue down the driveway.
Naturally, right?
Right, because I am so frustrated. That's why
Yeah.
I am kicking this thing down the driveway and not even thinking that any of my neighbors could be watching this, right? And I get this thing kicking and screaming. I think I even hit it with a sledgehammer one time because I was so frustrated.
I'm surprised you had one lying around.
And I'm sitting there going, I have no way to clean this up. And as I'm kicking it, and I'm seeing there's no way to clean this up. I have no hose, no nothing. I'm just getting angrier and angrier. Yeah. I finally get this thing to the end of the driveway, and I turn around and I look. And one of my neighbors is across the street looking at this.
Eating his popcorn.
So
my gosh.
Hey, how you doing? This isn't really me.
Yeah, I swear.
But I guess it is. But oh my God, in
that's
that
amazing.
moment of time, it was just
like as soon as you said it fell, and I started, the first thing I thought about was like, oh no, like is there grease or something in there? And on the driveway though, like
it's that stupid little container,
the little
that
tiny
you never clean out when you have your barbecue, right? The little plastic thing with a handle.
Exactly. You don't think you
hits
need
the inside, explodes, and then just starts leaking everywhere, all over the driveway.
So how did it end? Did you have anything to clean it up with? Like
no.
what?
Everything's in the truck.
So your driveway is just covered in like grease.
So I've got to go and talk to like one of my neighbors. It's do you have a bucket or soap or something? I got to wash this out. I think I got a hold of one of my neighbors, and I'm expecting like Dawn.
Yeah,
like something in a bowl. I can just spray it on, wash it off, get a broom, scrub it off. No, it's powder.
Well, oh God,
it's powdered detergent like Tide. You know? It's powdered detergent like Tide.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with this?
That's nuts. Like that's like the last thing that you would want in that situation. Like it's better than nothing, but
I think everybody in my family just knew.
Man,
just don't go near Dad now.
Let me ask you though: did you have a Ring camera by chance catching this, or do we have a neighbor we can reach out to get a nice play-by-play?
No. This is one of those moments that's like
so good.
It would have gone viral.
Oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure it would have gone viral.
Frustrated like dad in his driveway or something.
Oh yeah, and it was just so that was my. I can laugh at it now.
Yeah.
But I can, without a doubt, it was probably about as mad as I've been.
Oh yeah. I feel like you don't get very mad. Like,
no,
you're pretty calm and cool. Like you'll get stressed, but you don't really. I've never really seen you angry. You know, like
angry. No, that was
Well, that day I would have been. You know me well enough. I would have been swearing and punching the thing, kicking the thing. Like,
yeah. Oh, I got my kicks in.
Yeah.
And in the back of my mind, I'm just knowing the whole time. I'm like, these people buying my house are going to show up And they're going to see one of two things. They're going to see a stained driveway and be upset.
Yeah.
Or they're going to see a realtor losing his mind, kicking a barbecue, down the driveway.
What's wrong with this guy? But like, I feel like when you said it was tilting, like in the slow motion thing, like there's not much you can do there. Once it's going, right?
Oh, it was like it just folded this wrist over as I'm grabbing it. Right? And I had made it so far, like across the drive, like across
you reefed
the
it all the way around.
Yeah, through the gate, everything else down the end, like this bumpy patio that we had. And I like got it around the corner. Last stretch, just
game over.
Yeah, done.
Oh man,
gone.
My head hurts from like not being able to stop smiling from that. That was too good.
It was rather comical. So I double dog dare you to beat that story.
I don't really want to try. I don't want to go through that when I'm moving again.
Yeah. So one of the other things that we talked about, now that I've done embarrassing myself here,
that was pretty good though.
So we've talked about doing all of this stuff and having the podcast, and I think what you and I talked about now is getting into sharing with the people that are listening, the people that are downloading, some more insightful information.
Yeah.
So
lots of stuff.
Yeah. So we talked about having in our home inspector.
Yep.
We talked about having in our mortgage person and, our broker owners who are very insightful to all things real estate.
Amazing. Yeah. I can't wait for them.
We've talked about having one of our colleagues in to share stats. Like he's a big stats guy.
Yep.
And so I think what we should let people know is that this is what we're going to be trying to do now that summer's behind us. My crazy
you're moved in
behind us. You've kind of settled into being a bit busier.
Yeah.
It's just getting these people in and sharing the important information. Like it's fun to share these stories.
Yeah. And like, that's the thing is like, we've built the podcast, off of, off the cuff conversation. And that's kind of how we both have been enjoying doing it. So, like we're not going to just suddenly stop having, this discussion and this kind of stuff, but I'm excited to get like, now that, as you said, now that you're moved, you're in, you're feeling like you're at home, I'm busy, but you're busy too. But I mean, we're getting back into that kind of, build some momentum phase, adjust to kind of the new changes and everything. Right. So I think we want to put a few, like we talked about a bit, right? We want to put a few more episodes out probably with just the two of us. And we do have quite a few that are pre-recorded that we've had some technical difficulties. We've had some issues. We've had a few things where we're just trying to, the back office side of it. It's not as easy. Like it's easy, but we've been unlucky with it. We've had some actual technical difficulties.
Optically, it's something that should be easy, right?
You'd think. And
buy the technology.
Exactly.
Buy the microphone.
Use the technology.
Get the computer. Make it happen.
Yeah.
And it's tougher than what you think it is. Because if you think about when we had our first conversation about starting a podcast, it was back in December.
Yeah, maybe even earlier, like
maybe
loose,
November.
Like, yeah.
So if you think about it, and I again dare you to find a company that has started up or any initiative that has started up that hasn't had their fair share of hiccups along the way. Like we've driven Paul crazy with files and no files and audio and no audio.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the most frustrating things in the world.
For sure.
And, I think it's just part of getting this off the ground and started.
Yeah. And it's not like, we've said it before and we'll say it again. Like we never did this with the intention to, become famous or like, have it just blow up. But I mean, like you said, like it has been we'll say 8 months since the conversation. And, maybe I think we've done decently well. It's just, as you said, like we were very well aware from the beginning that, with us both being full-time realtors and, like, we were limited, but it's just a matter of now that you're through it, like we said, you're through the move, you're through that, we're all there. Now we're just getting back on track. That's it. Right.
Yeah. And it's funny, in other projects, I might've been discouraged and said, you know what, this isn't worth it. I'm not going to invest any more time in this. It's just not. This is something, doing the podcast and sitting down and chatting with you is something that, even though I've been away for a week's period of time, or, you and I haven't spoken in 4 days.
Yeah.
I've never lost the desire to sit behind the microphone, throw the headphones on, and even just have a conversation, even if it's about our craft breweries. So, I mean, we've got tons of things that we want to talk about, right?
Well, it's really endless, right?
Yeah.
Like, really, if we want it to be.
I think the information though is really kind of neat. There's still colleagues that we want to bring in, like Anita and Chris, some other people. They run the investment side of things. I still think it'd be cool to talk to Jerry Keenan.
Yeah,
because I think that would be cool to get a commercial insight into things, and even just people that have had more experience than you and I.
Well, and it's also like it's not even in my the way I see it too. A lot of the time is it's not even just for example, Chris and Anita, someone who does, very much investment properties and, legal duplexes and all that kind of stuff. It's not just what they're doing, it's how they got there. Mm-hmm. Right. Like they're going to tell us probably a pretty great story that, we probably only know bits and pieces of. And, everybody, that's one of the other cool things about real estate, I find, is that we all have a journey how we got here. Right. Mm-hmm. Like we've talked about ours on here. Yeah. We'll talk about them more and, whatever in the future. But there's a lot of people who, got into this business and have had huge success. So it's, to me, I'm intrigued to hear like how they got here. And, some of the people that built these really great teams, like that's a process that takes a lot of time and a lot of, effort and nuance and, all these things. Right. Yeah. So that's part of it that I'm excited about. Is hearing the backstories.
No, you're absolutely right. In the brief times I've had to speak to Anita, smart, unbelievably
just
smart,
a literal wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I think we've both gone back at certain times and said, help.
Yeah.
Okay, we need a little bit more insight into this thing that we're doing. Yeah. We want to be able to help our clients. And again, that comes back to it. And we mentioned this time and time again. It's part of this brokerage, being able to sit and tap into that wealth of experience that's here.
Yeah, for sure.
And I really do. And we also want to hear from people. Like we can do like little snippet or bonus podcasts to say, if you've got a specific question about a home inspection or about a financing thing, there's no reason why we couldn't have one of our experts in here to say, hey, can you sit down for 5 minutes and explain this to us? Just so we can put that out there and, keep bumping it up to the top of the broadcast list so that people are getting that information over and over and over again, or it's readily available to them. They don't have to go hunting for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how to do it, but we'll figure it out.
It's just a consistency, right? Like we just have to be consistently uploading because, how Spotify and Apple and all these, podcast platforms work is they're just like anything, it's an algorithm, right? Like they want you to be seeing what you're seeing. So if somebody is listening to our actually physically clicking the podcast, listening to it, if we're uploading consistently, they're going to be seeing those uploads, right?
Yeah.
So that's the key. And that's why, sometimes I get on you a little bit because I'm like, we got to keep it going. Like we're losing momentum because that's how I always think. And same thing with the social media. We got to be, it's consistency. And like, I'm horrible for that. Like you look at my Instagram, I'm like the worst. Like I love it, but I'm at the same time, I don't care. I don't let it hold that much weight, I guess.
Yeah, but we're only dealing with the same 24 hours in a day that everybody else deals with, right? Yeah. And I think as we grow, and as we get better at this,
it's always adjusting, right? Yeah. Like we're constantly adjusting in this business,
right? And it's funny because I was critical of my one son who just started a job and he's working, and he said, "Oh, Dad, I can't keep up. I'm not as fast as the other guys. Yeah. Like I can't do this and I can't do that." And I'm like, dude, you've been there for 3 days.
Yeah, you're going to figure it out.
You can't be moving at the same pace. You don't know the ins and outs. You don't know the tips, the tricks, and how to be more efficient at what you do. It takes time, right? So he's very hard on himself, and he doesn't want to do it. And then you've got people that are yelling at him. Yeah. That's funny because I said to him one day, I said, well, no, go and speak to your manager then. If people are yelling at you, like go and speak to your manager about, you don't want to be yelled at. Yeah. And he goes to me, Dad, he goes, my manager's yelling at me too.
Everybody's yelling.
So I feel bad for him, right?
But he's going to learn a lot from that experience, right?
Yeah, like, it's one of those things where we've kind of said, look, it's tough, but you can't give up.
Yeah.
Right.
Not on day 3 or week 1.
No, not on day 3. Yeah. No, maybe on week 3 if it's still maybe. But then we also found out that he just got accepted to Durham College.
Nice.
So
I saw that on Facebook actually. Yeah.
It's
awesome.
So he's heading down to Durham
Congrats
College.
to him. Yeah.
So he's pretty stoked about that. He was at his orientation the other day.
Cool.
And see how we just got sidetracked.
Hey, one of my good friends who I also would love to bring on here one day for fitness and educational reasons, but he works at Durham College, so never know. I might be able to.
Like what a great campus!
Buddy.
What a great campus we have here.
Oh yeah, it's one of the biggest reasons the Oshawa market and the Durham region market has been so strong for so long.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't been to a college campus in a long time.
Yeah, a few years.
Yeah. Let's not go with the age.
Just a few. Just a few.
Everything is brand new. Everything is brand new.
Is he at the Whitby campus or is he at
Whitby campus?
Yeah. Okay, nice.
So, but everything's brand new. Right. I think my wife was there and it's like, she was so excited. I'm like, what course are you signing up for too? It's like, I've got 2 people in college now.
I'm going to get busier again. Like, come on.
I need her at home.
Yeah, exactly. Help me.
She can't go to college too.
Yeah. No. So I was at that campus in Whitby when I got out of high school. I was taking the electrician course there.
Yeah.
So it came a long way. Like obviously just from like driving by it, you can see, right? But they added the restaurant, they added all that, all the stuff that goes with a restaurant. They grow all their own crops. Like it's really cool.
Like a little farm there.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Vegetables.
Honestly, like that is such a, I did a culinary program after high school, but that's a really good idea. I think, like, to be able to be teaching, students how to cook, all these things relating to being a chef and food, but then you have your own, like, you're literally growing your own produce, and you have a restaurant where they can actually cook in, because like they have that Bistro 67, right?
It's awesome.
You can go to it. It's like it's students cooking a lot of the time, right?
It's really cool. It's a ton expensive.
Oh no, I know, but I mean but like the whole idea there, it's really, it's like when they first did that, I thought it was so cool, because I was working in that industry at the time, right? So I had went in there, actually, sidetrack here, side note, but the restaurant owners that I was working with at the time, like, we had a little, like, hey, why don't you go try it, see how it is? Yeah. Because we were kind of competing at the time, right? Yeah. And it was good. I had nothing but good things to say. Like,
no, it is. We don't talk about those things enough. We don't promote those things. We don't boast about the good things that we have.
Yeah, no, that's really cool.
Ontario Tech University, that used to be UOIT. Yeah. So that's Ontario Tech now. Yep. And they've got some pretty cool things that are going on there. So we don't, I mean, I don't like talking about things that I'm not well versed on.
I agree. Yeah.
But maybe again, that's,
but see, like I'm saying, like my buddy that I know that works there, maybe we bring him in and we bring somebody with him, because I know a few people that work there, but then we can talk about it. Like, for people who aren't from the area, who might be thinking to invest here, or, whatever, like, could be some good information. Yeah.
And I completely forgot about my neighbor where I used to live, across the street from me. He's one of the profs down there working on, I think, his master's there.
Oh, nice.
But he runs the business development program.
Oh, interesting.
I said business development. I'm not sure if it's business
development. Yeah. Once again, not well versed always. It's okay,
Yeah, maybe I should just stop talking.
Talk myself but honestly, it's like my friend though. Like, he's also a professor there. Like, a couple of them are professors, but they're within like they're in the emergency services program. So like, it's hard to almost, sometimes I don't even know how to like describe his, like what his actual position is, because I don't really know what his actual title is, but I mean, he's a professor and he works in that department. So sometimes same thing, like, I've had times where someone will go, oh, like, what does he do there? And it's just a random question I didn't expect. And hey, he works in this program, right? But
and you think about it not being a big campus, where it's not being a big facility. It is huge, because when I did talk to my neighbor that one time, I said, one of my sons is thinking about going there. And I said, can you help him out? And he's like, that's not even close to what I do. And it's not even the same campus. Yeah. And then he sat back and he explained to me how big the facilities are, how much it's there.
Growing massively too.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you're not talking about like a major US university or anything like that, but for Oshawa area and surrounding area, it's pretty big.
Well, and like, let's just, for a side note here, like think back to when you moved here, right? From Toronto. Like what did that look like when you moved here? Because you would have, if you're going to Port Perry, you would have driven by that many times, right? Like it must have been so small at the time, right?
At the time, it was. I mean, I don't think they had the field. Like now they've got a soccer, lacrosse, football field up there. Yeah. They've got their rink up there.
Shagwell's is up there,
Yeah. So they've got a lot of things. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the family that owned the farm up there, Winfield Farms, did donate a lot of that land to the university and the college.
I think so, yeah. And once again, I'm not 100% on that, but I've heard I've heard stuff about that before.
And I know someone on social media is going to correct us.
Oh yeah, hey, good luck to them. Bring it, let's go. We're not saying we're right.
No, it's another unique thing. So when you sit back and we kind of got here by talking about what we want to do on the podcast, and building that structure back in for September day one, start going again, getting our content out once a week and sharing some good information. That's another thing that we could be talking about, because it's not real estate related.
It's a nice train of thought to go to,
It's something that we should be talking about. It should be promoting.
Well,
anything else that's in town.
Exactly. It's a huge draw, like, to Oshawa. It really is. And like, I know I have clients, like I know many people who have purchased homes like in the remote, in the area where they can rent them, like they know for sure it's safe, and they've bought it 20 years in advance for when their children go there. And I know people whose kids live in the home. They have maybe like say 4 or 5 roommates, but it's like the people who purchased it 20 years ago, their son or daughter is now living there, going to school there, and they're almost just managing the house with their roommates. And it's so smart. Like, that kind of such a smart idea.
Like I wish I had that foresight when I was 15, 20 years ago when I was doing that stuff. But it would have made a lot more sense.
Honestly, it's one of those things, like how can you have like a better plan than that, right? If you're thinking that far in advance. Because I know people who have owned in that neighborhood for like 20 years, and it's like the easiest, most like profitable investment they've ever made. You know.
Although, in all honesty, if I want to go back 23 years before I met my wife, I was pretty much broke.
Yeah.
I don't
$5
to
your name.
Yeah, I don't think I was buying a whole lot of real estate.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, so this has been good. So this is keeping in line with our unscripted side of things.
Yep. It's just another one to put in the vault, you know.
Exactly. And just sharing that information. And we may not get a lot of downloads and interactions on this one.
That's all right.
But that's fine. That's not why we're doing it. Just letting people know that as of September, here comes the structure. And we can't.
We will be annoying you as of September. We hope.
Yes,
right.
Sure.
Like where you're seeing our things so
podcast
often.
after podcast after podcast.
That you're just like, I just have to listen to these guys. You know.
Exactly.
No choice.
What did they call it when it was TV? It was scheduled viewing. You had to sit down on Thursday.
Scheduled programming.
Scheduled programming. Yeah. You used to have to sit down on Thursday nights and watch Cheers and the Cosby Show.
So
was it Cosby Show?
Were you grabbing the TV guide and checking to see what time it was on?
Yeah, you went there with the TV guide, right?
So many people don't even know that was a thing. Like,
I know.
Crazy.
As a kid, though, growing up, my sister and I used to fight over that thing.
Well, to me, like from my understanding, it was the hottest. Like we had them when I was a kid too, but I mean, I think, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it started really small, right? Like it started like a smaller one and it got larger.
TV Guide was small.
Yeah.
But then there was the one that came out with like the newspapers, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so too.
Like the Toronto Star would have one.
Yeah.
Or the Sun would have like a TV Guide.
Yeah.
Not the actual like the TV guide.
The original.
The gospel of TV.
The Bible itself. Like,
yeah, exactly. Not that. But yeah, we used to sit down and you'd okay. So I'm going to go back even further.
Yeah.
The ones we used to have as a young kid, you had the channels that were in color and black and white.
Gotcha. Hey, I had a TV in my room like till I was probably 12 years old that I had to twist the knob. I had all these cords to connect my gaming systems to it. Like, because it's funny, like Alex, like your son Alex is the same, right?
Yeah.
Like we kind of grew up in that era where it's like we're a little bit of both. Like we're kind of like old school, but we're modern because we had technology, right? Like it's weird at times.
Yeah, but your parents weren't quite up on everything yet, so
they're still
adjusting the antenna.
Yeah, exactly. Where nowadays it must be so different. Like you're just like everything. You just give your kid whatever, the iPad, or you turn it on and that's it, right?
Well, we talked about that today. Like my clients, and they're purging everything because their house is coming up on the market in the next little while, and they're purging everything. And they said they had boxes and boxes of CDs.
Oh yeah,
and that is not an old technology. No. When was the last time you popped a CD into it and listed Collective Soul?
Hey, not a bad call though. I would listen to that.
Right.
It's been a long time. Yeah, probably. Honestly, if I was to guess, it would be like, I don't know, 8 years maybe when I had a vehicle with a CD.
Yeah,
because the vehicles don't even have them anymore, right?
Yeah. Oh, I know. When I think I sold my Hyundai Santa Fe. Yeah. I was doing everything, and the guy said, "Did you check the CDs?" Right? And I'm like, I didn't put any CDs in there, right? And this is years ago.
Yeah.
Right? And he goes, "Just turn the car on for a second." Turns it on, right? Spits out what was it? I think it was Cake was the band on the CD, right? And I'm like, Cake.
Wait a minute.
When was that relevant?
Yeah. See, I remember in one of the cars I bought when I was like, in those years when you're first buying your vehicles and whatever, I remember I think there was like a Sheryl Crow CD or something in it.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
way back.
I was like, okay, let's turn that up a bit, But it was a surprise because what was happening was I was driving it for the first time and I was just like you said, pushing the button and trying to figure it out. And then it kind of like, it was like in the middle of a track or something. I don't know. I guess that's how I don't really remember how it worked, but it just started up and I was just like, it was perfect. And I was like, I randomly own a Sheryl Crow. I had a Sheryl Crow CD with no case, but just keep it in there. And whenever you want that vibe,
All right. I'll give you that one.
It's not bad.
No. So this takes me to another story. So this is where, we could go off on tangents on day.
Easily.
Did you ever order CDs through Columbia House?
No, but my parents probably did.
I did.
I hate to say that, but
I did. And you got 11 CDs for free, and then they gave you a bonus one, and then every other CD after that was like $40.
Oof.
And it was like, wow, I'm going to spend a lot on CDs.
That's interesting.
They got you on the 11 free.
Interesting.
And then you had to look it up, Google it, Columbia House.
I'm just thinking like that. That's smart because that's like a modern, like that's like a subscription type service, right?
Called a pyramid scheme.
Well, okay. Oh, so is that what it
No.
was? It though? No. No, but I mean, like I think about Spotify now, and you pay a monthly service, and you get, so that's kind of like the same idea, but back.
But no, at Columbia House back in the days, and for people that are close to my age, will know that you would fill out the form in pen, and you would send it back. And like a month later, you'd forgotten you'd even ordered this stuff. Like 11 CDs show up, and you're like, awesome,
nice.
I got all these CDs I can listen to. And then 3 weeks later or 4 weeks later, you get another CD, and you're like, oh, this is awesome. Yeah. Only this one came with an invoice for like 30 bucks or 40 bucks or whatever it was. And you're like, ew. Yeah. I don't like this part of it.
So like, was it an actual pyramid scheme, or was it just a company? Yeah, okay. Because I know how, like, I did, like, I didn't do one, but I did an MLM when I was coming out of high school. I made some good money on it, so I'm not gonna say anything bad about it. But I know there was, like, my parents, as soon as I did that, they were like, "Oh, you're in a pyramid scheme, like you're gonna lose all your money." I'm like, I'm okay. But I think back to it, and like that's probably why I do, relatively well in real estate, is in sales. I was selling like fitness products.
Because you're running a Ponzi scheme, is that it?
Yeah, big old pyramid. I'll just change my branding, change it all up. But
if you come up with a triangle on your next for sale sign,
you'll know immediately. Like, wait a minute, I'm not joining with that guy. Cancel the podcast.
No way.
So, that's interesting though. So I like that little side note we went on there.
Yeah, so that's Columbia House for you, and that's back to that had to be late 80s, mid to late 80s. At least that's when it was popular for me. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Probably even before that. Probably early to mid 80s.
So do you remember any of the CDs you got off that?
Oh, I do.
Do you remember all of them?
Not all of them, but I can tell you I got A Collective Soul. I got, I think there was a Metallica CD in there. Nice. Midnight Oil.
Okay.
Thompson Twins.
I don't think I've heard of them. Is that a good thing I didn't hear them?
Yeah, probably.
Because I genuinely, I know a lot of the older music, not all of it, but I never heard of that.
I can't believe I announced that out on the airwaves that part of my internet. Columbia House order was Thompson Twins and Midnight Oil. Although I will still listen to the Midnight Oil album. I still like that album. It's or album CD.
Yeah.
It's a good one. And who else did I get? I think I got a Billy Joel one too.
Nice.
Right? I was like, The Piano Man.
Oh yeah, man! I still listen to that song and I love it. I never get sick of it. Like,
I think I actually have it now on my Spotify playlist. I have Piano Man and Vienna.
Oh yeah,
from Billy Joel.
Yes. Absolute, like, great songs. Yeah. No, like my Spotify is like I do, like, we're going off here, but I mean, everything on mine, I listen to music all the time. Yeah. Doesn't matter what I'm doing in my day, I will have music on for the vibe. Yeah. So my liked songs are where I operate from all the time. So I'll go through it and I'll get like 5 or 6 in a row that I liked that will, play after each other, and it's great. And then it'll switch to like, it'll be like Billy Joel type songs, and it'll be like an EDM song, like. And it'll switch to like rap, and then there'll be like a nice, like, softer song, right? So it's like, oh yeah, I had a weird day that day.
You tell me you're heading into world music and classical?
No. Well, no? I do love, like, I'm telling you, man, I love music, like old music, jazz, classical. Like, I will listen to it. I'm not going to sit here and listen to jazz daily, but I mean, what I do a lot of the time is at my house. If I'm working from home, I put on my TV, there's all these, like, they're just nonstop running, like, jazz or like classical music. And there's a really nice background. So it'll be like a beach house or something. And it'll be like, it's animated. So it's moving and the music's playing, and I'll just put that on. I'll turn it up. I'll get to work, and I love it. Like, that's great.
I do the Sunday brunch one every once in a while on Spotify, and man, oh man, drives the kids nuts. Yeah. Because we'll be sitting there, and it's like, for us, it's like just kind of background, because my wife and I are sitting down chatting away and talking about
just
like the day or the week that's kept coming.
Exactly, yeah.
What's happened. And they're in the kitchen, and all of a sudden you get this look. It's like, God, Dad, turn it off.
What is this crap?
Find a different playlist, man.
I can see Ethan doing that.
Like, all the time. All over me on that. Yeah. It's just like, it's so funny, but it's interesting how that music has migrated, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about, one of the stories I shared was buying like little 45s, and my sister and I going into the record store and buying 45s, and she would buy the LPs, right? So the long play ones. And then it's talking to my clients today about CDs and how they've kind of become not irrelevant, but you just don't see a lot of them around anymore. Yeah. And now we've migrated right into like
it's just
Apple
completely
Music,
digital,
Google Play and Spotify and all these things where it's like, everything is a subscription and a finger touch away.
Yeah,
from
that's
being
true.
in your possession.
Which honestly, like I think I don't think I've said it on here. I've said it to you probably, but I mean, like I grew up listening to a lot of classic rock. Like, you know, Q107 was on the radio every single day. Like I would play soccer a lot of the time, let's say between 5 and 7 nights a week, and my dad would take me and we would have it on. So it's just normal to me. Like like it's just like you. It could be background noise, but in my head, I'm like rocking to it. Like I just love it, right?
Well, when I used to teach skiing, so we used to do, like, you'd get psyched up to do like either a race or a competition or something like that, and we didn't have AirPods that we could stick in our ears and like listen to. You had muffins like this.
Oh
right?
yeah,
like hard to ski.
Hey, I used to have a Discman and a Walkman. You know, I was a part of the
try wiping out with a Walkman and a headphone on.
Yeah.
Right? So we never wore them skiing, but yeah, you'd have certain tunes that you'd listen to at the top.
Yeah.
It just gets you all pumped up, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I can conquer the world right now.
Absolutely.
I'm going to win this, right? Middle of the pack, halfway. No, you're not even close to first place.
No, but I think music, and like, I think part of the reason why people don't have as much hesitation maybe for the subscriptions for the music is just music is such a, like I said, for me, it's such a daily thing. Like I find myself sometimes, like if I get a little bit down or I get a little bit stressed or whatever's going on, like I'm kind of beat up a bit, like I can put on a couple songs and I'm telling you, without even, sometimes I notice it, other times I don't, but I'll just start feeling better. Like it's crazy, right?
It's definitely a mood changer.
It is. And I think that's why people don't fight that. Like they just pay it.
Try and drive home without turning the music on.
Like I actually, sometimes I do that because I like silence. Sometimes I like to enjoy it.
Really?
Honestly, yes.
I have never, ever driven home in my life with no music
on,
unless it's broken.
That's amazing.
I have never driven in my own car. Now, mind you, when I did landscaping, we had trucks that had no radios in them, so you were kind of
so that doesn't count.
You're pooched. Yeah. Right? So you can't do that.
Yeah.
But as far as driving my own vehicles, if there is not a radio or a CD player or some kind of music, I will figure out a way to get music into that car.
Interesting. Like, will you just start singing or?
No.
No.
Nobody wants that.
You'll just figure it out. Yeah.
I'll figure it out. Like, you go grab the old Walkman, you get the aux cable, you do that from the headphone, you plug it into the dashboard and you try and get something working on there. And it's like anything. Yeah. Anything. Anything I'm doing, I need the music in the background.
Interesting. See, sometimes for me, I want it off. Like, really? Whether I'm I feel like a lot of time it'll be if I'm stressed out or whatever, and I'm just kind of like my mind is going, and you know, sometimes it's easier if I just shut it. Like sometimes they'll be on the radio and like an annoying commercial come on, and I'm just like, get that off of here. Like I like punch the screen.
Okay.
but then I'll leave it though. That's the difference. I'll leave it for probably like 10 to 20 minutes sometimes, depending on how far I'm going. Right.
Yeah.
It won't just be like give it a minute and then turn it back on every time. Right.
Well, I talked to Bob Anderson in the office about that. And when my dad passed, he and I were chatting about things, and he said, there's this song that reminds me, like when his dad passed, right? He said, there's a song that reminds me. And he goes, you got to listen to this song. It's not City in Color, but it was something about colors, and it's a country western song. Okay. And I'm not a big country western person.
I love City in Color, by the way. That's a good show that you mentioned there. I love them.
And I listened to this song. Is something triggered in the back of my head that I should listen to this song on the way home? Now, I hadn't thought about my dad in weeks, right? After his passing, but Bob had mentioned this song that he had listened to, and it was, is it cathartic?
Yeah, I think that's the word.
And he had said that he was emotional listening to this song. I swear to God, I got to Raglan, I was in tears.
Really?
Right? And it was like, wow, that was weird.
Yeah.
Right? But that's what music does. Like it sometimes makes you think. And I had never heard that song before. Yeah. But music is like that.
It's so relatable, right?
Yeah, like when all my boys were born, I know of a song that was playing
that's
at
how
the
I
time,
know I'm gonna be too. Yeah,
and I hear that song, and it's like, oh, that's when Ethan was born. Oh, that's when Logan was born. Oh, that's when Alexander was born. Yeah. Right? And I know all of those.
That's how
songs.
You associate, like almost like your timeline at times, right? Like,
yeah. So music is one of those things that are really,
for sure.
I can't go without it.
No, and honestly, that's what I mean. Like when I say like everything I'm doing in my life, I mean like there's music on all the time. Like it's just, and it's not even just background noise. A lot of time it's like if I'm doing something, whether I'm like working or I'm, on a run or walking or riding my bike or like playing video games or something, like I'll just turn on music, and it's just like a lot of music too, right? Once again, like going back to what you just said, I know we're getting a little bit off track again, but triggering memories and stuff. It's like a smell. Sometimes you can smell something and it can just take you to a place and you're like, oh, like your childhood or like a great moment, right?
Mine's lilac.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Like, see, for me, a lot of times, like, there's different things, but sometimes when I'm out, like every morning for me, I like to get up. Like, I'm always up between like 6 and 7 at the latest, and like usually, I'm telling you, I can't even help it. It's kind of horrible at times, even on the weekend. Sunday morning, I'll roll to bed at 5 a.m. and I'm like, I got to get up.
God, I'm a
like,
lazy bugger in
not
comparison
always,
to you.
not always, but I can still be lazy even if I'm up early. But what was I getting at was just, yeah. So a lot of times, like a lot of times in the morning when I first get up, I like to go outside. I like to either like, take some sunlight in or just like get some nice deep breaths in and smell the outdoors. So a lot of the mornings when I go out, if I smelled like it rained overnight and it's like a summer morning, that for me is just like my childhood. It's like cross country running. It's like playing soccer. It's like climbing trees. Like all of it just goes.
It's funny you mention that, because for me, it's lilac bushes.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I grew up in a house in the country in Quebec, and all along I don't even know what side of the house that was. I don't think it's relevant.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But right underneath our windows, bedroom windows, as kids, were these lilac bushes.
It's awesome.
So I get this smell and aroma of a lilac bush, and like I'm instantly transported back to being 5 years old, sitting in my bedroom and watching the sun come up in this old farmhouse we used to live in as kids.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And it was like, and it never fails.
Yeah. That's the thing, is it's really like, weird like that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm 6 years old again. It's like,
yeah, that's crazy.
How does that happen?
And see, that's the thing. Sorry, go ahead there.
No, it's just, and music is the same thing, right? Like,
that's what I was going to say.
My wife listens to music, and there's music and songs from a certain period of time. She can sing every lyric, does not need the teleprompter, can just belt that tune out, no problem. And the kids just like, they're mortified, right? Mom's singing in the front seat of the car, and she's just loving it. But there are songs for me that just certain memories and milestones, they were always there, right? I listen to the lyrics. My wife listens to the beat.
Gotcha, okay.
Right? So, like, there was a song that we used to dance to all the time, like wedding songs. We went to a party, my wife and I would always dance to it, right? This is an emotional guy. I'm thinking, like these lyrics and everything else. And my wife just goes, I just like the tune. I'm like, all right.
She's just fist pumping in the background and you're like crying.
It's almost that diametrically opposed, right? I'm thinking, oh, this is a nice sentimental moment. And we're dancing away. And she's like, that's got a good beat.
Yeah. You're like, all right,
whatever.
See you later. I'm done dancing for the night. Right. But no, and like there's a lot of music for me too, right? Like, music, sounds, all these things that it's cool. Like those are things I think that it's important to keep close. Like keep, it's part of your identity at times, right?
Yeah.
Like for me, I love Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like always have. Like I'm just love them. And I mean, the song Scar Tissue, I could listen to it I could listen to it as many times as possible. And I'm telling you that every time I hear that initial, as soon as it starts, it gets me, because my parents, it would have been like, I guess like late 90s, right? Like early, when they were really like really prominent. But I just remember some of those songs, like that one, and like Snow, like Hey Ho, like just there's certain sounds to it that they're so like, it just grabs me the same way. So I think that I like some of this music more because it, even if it doesn't transport me every time now, it's just like feels like it's part of you, right?
Yeah, mine's Collective Soul. That's why I kind of threw that out earlier about the Collective Soul thing. But that's it for me. Like that whole album there, I forget what the name of the album is. It's not Gel. It might be Gel is the name of the album. And again, someone online is going to correct me.
You're probably wrong.
But it's like every song, 7 of them, like the first 7, it's like, yep.
Yeah, like you're not skipping anything. You're just letting it play, right?
And it's one of those ones where it's kind of like Tragically Hip. I can listen to almost all the time, any volume.
It's just its own vibe. Like,
it's like, it's almost like that defining Canadian kind of anthem band type of thing, right? Where Collective Soul for me, you got to listen to it between 7 and 9.
Oh, okay, nice.
Right, like it's just cranked.
Interesting,
all the time, right. So we actually went to see them in concert when they were here, and I saw them probably about 4 or 5 times when they were in concert.
Nice.
In various parts in Toronto.
See, like when I was a kid, I went and saw like Motley Crue and Aerosmith. Like I seen bands like that with my parents would take me. I'd be like 10 years old. I'd be like, let's go. Like just
you do not.
No, like I mean, like I went, like I saw Motley Crue and Aerosmith when I was in like grade 8, and like I remember a couple of my friends who also liked that music. They thought it was the coolest thing ever, and I was just like, like my parents are taking me, and honestly, I remember like seeing Steven Tyler up there, and I was like, wow, this is just amazing. It was my first like real like concert like that, right?
Wow.
And that's the kind of stuff I did, right? And it's just Yeah, it's like music it's universal and it's there, and I think it's one of those things that you need to keep it, like I said, keep it kind of close, because it's shocking what it can do sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
it gets you out of a bad mood. It gets you out of the doldrums. It gets you, it can emotionally set you back a little bit once in a while.
Put it this way: if I show up at the gym, okay, and I've got all my stuff, everything's going, but I forgot my headphones, I will have a long, hard thought about going home or like going to the office or whatever I was going to do next. Right?
Yeah,
that's how much it's like. Yeah, it's tough not to have it.
Well, I take my Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah.
Like every time we go on vacation, or if we go away or we're at friend's place or something like that, it's like, you're gonna have tunes, right? We're gonna have tunes.
Where's the music? Like,
I mean, you're sitting around a campfire. Who's bringing the tunes, right?
Absolutely.
And certain things, again, you go back. You're sitting around a campfire. I'm not listening to Collective Soul. I'm listening to the Tragically Hip.
Yeah.
Right. Or at a different scenario, I'm listening to my, I call it my angry white man grunge music, right?
Oh yeah, nice. That's you should title it that and like publish that on Spotify. See if you get.
I think I had a playlist, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't call it that. That's probably not the best thing to do, is to call it that. But the phase, like Eminem.
Oh,
and you just go through and you listen to all of that.
I can. Like, and you like Eminem, eh? Like,
well, I crank that to 9 or 10.
Oh man, let's get it on.
Yeah,
seriously, because that's like, once again, I can sing so many. I can like rap so many of those songs like word for word, just like most people in my generation can. Like, if you can't sing like Till I Collapse or like Just Lose It, or a few of those just that were like so like prominent. I don't know. You didn't really grow up
in his prime. I can't do it without the music. But I'll be, if I'm driving up one of the streets going home and I got the windows open, it's like, yep, here we go.
Oh yeah.
Right.
No, like Eminem, like we talked about pump up music, right? For me as a kid, like, playing soccer and stuff like that, I would always be in my room with my like big, multiple speakered stereo, like, the huge one that's like this thick, turning it up. But I would have that on. I'd be like curling like 10-pound dumbbells, like, going so hard, like thinking I was going to make it, right? Like, but it would pump me up, and the same songs still pump me up. Like if I'm going to go play a match Friday night, I will throw on like Till I Collapse, I'm telling you, by Eminem. If you haven't heard that one, you gotta. And I will put that on in my car ride, and I'll like rap the whole thing, and I'll get out of the car. I'm like, let's go to battle. Like, right.
Everybody has their anthems.
Absolutely.
For the that they do.
Absolutely.
So this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we said, honestly, what did we say when we started this? Let's do something 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes long.
Yeah. I think I said maybe 30 to 45 at most,
okay,
but
so
that's okay. We're still,
let's split the difference. We'll
still
say it's 20.
Yeah.
I'm looking down at the timer right now.
Yeah. What are we looking
at?
And
57 minutes.
Oh, that's nice though.
57 minutes.
And hey, you know what? If somebody tunes in and they enjoy the first bit, great. If they tune out as we slowly tuned out, then that's okay. Like,
maybe we just tell people start at the end of this one, because that's where it's really cool to forget the beginning part of it.
Exactly.
Because that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So just skip to about the 30-minute section.
You're good.
And that's where we get into the whole music thing and conversation. So,
no, but you know what? We got it done. We got another one. This will go up. We'll keep it timely. And like we said, we've got a plan going now with more of a structure, right? So
we're looking forward to bringing people back to listen to the podcast, where we're going to bring in a lot of our keynote speakers, a lot of our valued partners, a lot of people that are going to share some insight. We're going to keep it light. We're not going to get too heavy with this stuff. We still want to salt and pepper in our, our craft breweries and
the fun stuff like this, like today, right?
Yeah, this has been great, and maybe promoting some of the the community stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We put on a newsletter every month called Tempo.
Yeah.
Maybe we should be talking about what's in Tempo every month.
Well, and that's the thing, right? And I think it's cool because as we kind of, even today, right? Like we kind of came in, we didn't really have a topic that we were planning to talk about. We kind of just went with it. But I mean, it's okay to kind of just, in this 57 minutes or whatever it is, like we've actually, like, think about what you just said, like, community stuff, like, more statistical stuff. Like there's so many things that we've actually like gained from this ourselves, just from having this conversation. So to me, that's part of the growth. It's part of the process. Right. And
so,
we're getting there.
So I do thank you for coming in and sitting down and chatting today. I know I know we're both on the same heading here, but it is nice to,
it's been a time.
It has, but it's one of those things, is sitting here and chatting with you is one of those things where we share a lot of ideas. Mm-hmm. Our prep time is really cool, right? I mean, if we could record our prep time,
like we were literally like, my face was hurting before we started just from laughing, and we didn't even get into the stories we talked about. Like we're just like shooting.
I know. It was great. Yeah. So we thank everybody else for tuning in.
Yeah.
Get back to our regular schedule back in September.
Get ready to be annoyed by us on social media, because we're going to post more.
So we are going to wrap up the Bricks and Banter podcast, because I've got nothing else to say.
It's time to
right now.
Get the F out of here.
See you later. Bye. Let's wrap it up there.
Thanks for joining, everybody. We'll see you next time.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.